This Day in Sports History. This episode is brought to you by Sterling Soap Company. Fellas, you've heard the phrase, look good, feel good, right? But why not add smell good to that too? That's where Sterling Soap Company comes in. First, Sterling Soap is 100% natural and has a wide variety of bath soaps, shave soaps, beard balm, lotions, and cologne. Second, there's a scent just for you. How about burgundy? Yeah, it's more than a color. The Sterling Soap folks blend natural essential oils with hints of mahogany, golden amber, and sandalwood. Or how about D503, an intensely masculine scent inspired by Legend by Mont Blanc. And third, you will feel good about the price. For just a little more than you'd pay at the grocery store, Sterling Soap will leave you feeling clean, refreshed, and ready for whatever's next. Give Sterling Soap a try today. Visit sterlingsoap.com. You found it, the one and only daily, as in every day of the week, 366 days of the year, it's a leap year, sports history podcast that dives into what happened on this day in sports. This podcast is a member of the Sports History Network, and you can check out sportshistorynetwork.com for more podcasts and more info. It's November 11th, and on this day in 1981, Fernando Valenzuela became the first rookie to win the Cy Young Award. Like I'm sure you were, I was saddened to learn about the passing of Fernando Valenzuela on October 22nd at the age of 63. Even though I was a diehard Atlanta Braves fan when Fernando debuted in the majors in 1981, I couldn't help but get caught up like everybody else in Fernando mania. He was a fresh-faced 20-year-old kid who went from obscurity to international fame, winning his first 8 starts in 81, and 5 of those were complete game shutouts. In fact, he went the full 9 innings in his first 8 starts of that year. Also during that stretch, he had a .5 ERA with 68 strikeouts. Now, to clarify, Fernando had been brought up to the majors at the tail end of 1980, and he saw action in 10 games for a total of 17 2/3 innings. That may have been key in acclimating him to his surroundings, but it did not disqualify him from being listed as a rookie in the 81 season. With his smooth delivery to the plate that included his trademark look skyward, he led the league with 25 starts, 11 complete games, 192 innings pitched, and 180 strikeouts. He finished the year 13-7 with an ERA of 2.48. All of those numbers added up to Valenzuela being named the National League Cy Young Award winner, edging out Tom Seaver and becoming the first rookie in Major League history to earn it. He would also win the National League Rookie of the Year award, along with the Silver Slugger Award as the best hitting pitcher. On this day in 2017, Louisville quarterback and reigning Heisman Trophy winner Lamar Jackson became the first college football player to pass for 3,000 yards and run for 1,000 in back-to-back seasons. The Cardinals were at home against Virginia on this day. Jackson started his afternoon off with a 68-yard touchdown run in the first quarter. He then followed that up with 3 TD passes throughout the course of the game on the way to a 38-21 win. Jackson finished up with 15 completions for 195 yards and those 3 TD throws to go along with 15 carries for 160 yards and a rushing score. He would finish out the year with more than 3,600 yards passing and 1,600 rushing yards, and yet would finish third in the Heisman balloting. Another guy who was rolling up big numbers on this day back in 1978 was Eddie Lee Ivery. Ivery's Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets were on the road at Air Force. It was a bone-chilling cold day with snow flurries and wind in Colorado Springs that day, and with a game-time temperature of 22 degrees and a swirling wind of 16 miles per hour, it may have been tough for fans to get their carbureted engine started on this day, but it had zero effect on Ivery's engine. But, just like a car may take some time to warm up before it really gets going, so did the Ramblin' Wreck running back. After gaining just 11 yards on his first 4 carries, Ivery hit the accelerator and reeled off touchdown runs of 75, 80, and 57 yards. He finished the day with 22 carries for a then NCAA record 356 yards rushing. Ivery broke Eric Allen's 7-year record of 350 yards. Ivery's record would hold up for nearly a full 6 years until Washington State's Reuben Mays put up 357 yards rushing in October 1984. From Ivery's one-dimensional dominating performance, let's turn the clock back to 1911, when the multi-dimensional Jim Thorpe did just about everything to beat a tough Harvard Crimson team. Prior to the start of this one, Thorpe was hobbling around on a heavily bandaged right leg. It was never a question of if he would play, but more how effective would he actually be. Well, he answered that fairly early. Flying around the field, making tackles on defense, and carrying the football on offense. He kicked a pair of field goals, but Harvard still managed a 9-6 lead at halftime. In the second half, Thorpe mesmerized the 25,000 who'd gathered to watch with his relentless running. He ripped off a long run only to be brought down at the 2-yard line, and then he let Possum Powell take the ball in the next play into the end zone to give Carlisle a 15-9 advantage. Thorpe added his fourth field goal of the day a little bit later on, which was fortuitous. Harvard scored a late touchdown, but Carlisle pulled out the upset over Harvard 18-15. Carlisle, coached by the legendary Pop Warner, rolled through the 1911 season with an 11-1 record. Their only blemish came the week after the Harvard win, losing 12-11 at Syracuse. Are you a hockey fan? Then you'll love Eric Zweig's new book, Hockey Hall of Fame True Stories 2. It's a treasure trove of untold tales, bizarre incidents, and captivating trivia that will leave even the most devoted puckhead astounded. The intense rivalries, epic showdowns, and historic clashes that shaped the NHL's early years, it's all in there. Zweig uncovers the true stories that helped shape the sport, ensuring that you will never look at hockey the same way again. Check out Hockey Hall of Fame True Stories 2 on Amazon or wherever fine books are sold. On this day in 1990, Kansas City Chief linebacker Derrick Thomas was a major disruptor for the Seattle Seahawks. Thomas was able to get to Seattle Seahawk QB Dave Kreig and sack him 7 times, and that was enough to set the NFL record, and it is still the record today for sacks by one player in a game. But if only he'd picked up his 8th sack of the day, the outcome of this game would have been different. The Hawks trailed the Chiefs 16-10 in the final minute of this game. Kreig dropped back to pass, and once again, it looked like Thomas was going to bring him down. He just couldn't wrap him up. When Kreig wriggled free, he lofted a 25-yard pass into the end zone that was caught for a tying touchdown. The PAT gave Seattle the 1-point win, despite Derrick Thomas's heroic 7-sack performance. Moving on to what happened on this day in 2012 when former Chief and then Atlanta Falcon tight end Tony Gonzalez became the first tight end in NFL history to catch at least 100 touchdown balls. Before Travis Kelce, before Gronk, before Antonio Gates, there was Tony Gonzalez. Gonzalez brought a basketball player's ability to a position that is equal parts offensive lineman and pass catcher. That's partly due to the fact that Gonzalez played basketball in college. The guy could outmuscle a linebacker like grabbing a rebound in the paint, or outsky a defensive back to make a ballet-like catch in the end zone, and that set him apart from most others in the league. Well, on this day, his Atlanta Falcons were at home against New Orleans. In the second quarter, Matt Ryan found Gonzalez for a 2-yard touchdown, and with that, Gonzalez became the first tight end in NFL history to reach 100 touchdowns in a career. He'd add another one in the second half in what would be a 31-27 loss to the Saints. He'd play one more season after this one and then wrap up his career with 111 touchdown receptions. That was a list of one until Antonio Gates, another guy who used his basketball skills to catch passes as a tight end, reached the 100 touchdown plateau in 2015. And on this day in 2007, Phil Mickelson may have had his oddest win as a professional golfer. This was the final round of the HSBC Champions of China in Shanghai, and the fun started when he made the turn. Mickelson would later say it was the oddest back nine that he had ever played. In the final 9 holes, Mickelson was penalized 6 shots. He had a 3-shot lead with 7 to play, but would drop 4 shots in the next 4 holes, and he trailed Ross Fisher by a shot when he came to the 18th, a 535-yard par 5. Mickelson hit his approach into the water, and he figured the tournament was lost. But Fisher's shot from deep rough rolled through the green and found its way to the water hazard as well. A penalty stroke, a chip, and 2 putts, and it was a double bogey for Fisher. Mickelson actually had a 10-foot putt to win the tournament, but it slid by the cup, and it was a 3-player playoff with Lee Westwood added to the mix. Mickelson ended his roller coaster ride when he holed a 4-foot birdie putt on the second playoff hole to win his first pro tournament in Asia. Phew, that is 7 stories from this day in sports history. Nothing groundbreaking or earth-shattering or game-changing, but a really fun glimpse into the past nonetheless. But it's time now for today's Got Nothing to Do with Sports fun fact. Lucille Ball tried out for the part of Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind. It was not her idea, but rather her studio who insisted. On the day of her audition, her car broke down, causing her to walk 6 blocks in the rain. When she got to the audition, she was drenched. An assistant gave her a glass of brandy and put her by the fire to warm up. And when it came time for the audition, she said, "I'm not Scarlett O'Hara, I'm Lucille Ball, and I want to go home." Even though she did not land the part with that line, producer David Oselznick said, "You were very interesting." That's it for this edition, but as the name implies, I'll be back tomorrow with another This Day in Sports History. This has been an original Thrive Suite production.
Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman, a.k.a. the Football History Dude, and I hope that you enjoyed this recent episode presented by the Sports History Network and were able to learn some good old-fashioned sports history knowledge nuggets. I started the Sports History Network back in 2020 with the mission to help podcasters find a community of like-minded sports history nerds, as well as helping aspiring podcasters to start their own shows. We have a little bit over 30 shows on the network right now covering all sorts of sports history, but as far as I'm concerned, we're just at the toothpick in the ocean moment, that can't even figure it out because there's so much more coming. We wanted to create the ultimate headquarters for sports yesteryear, starting with Podcast Network and our website, but we're going to continue to move into other mediums as well. And here's the cool part, because we want you to be part of our team. So if you're interested in starting your own podcast, or maybe being a guest on one of our shows, or who knows, maybe even writing an article for us over on the website. Seriously, all you gotta do is reach out to us on the contact page over at sportshistorynetwork.com. You can be as technologically savvy as a Neanderthal tapping on a stone trying to figure out this whole hieroglyphics thing back in the day. Again, it doesn't matter, because even if you don't understand the whole podcast space, we have a production team that can pretty much help you out with doing everything. All you gotta do, head over to sportshistorynetwork.com, head to the contact page, fill it out. That message goes right to me, and I'll reach out to you as soon as I can. But for now, dude, I'm through if you're through.